Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Bitcoin, and we can extrapolate from this chart what altcoins are going to do basically. So I mean, just before we start looking at Bitcoin, I'm going to show you the Bitcoin dominance chart breaking down even further, which you might think is like an exciting time. I had someone just leave a message on one of my other videos just recently saying, so when Bitcoin breaks down, is this going to be an alt season? I mean, no. As far as I'm concerned, it's going to be the opposite of an alt season. If we hit this 40% dominant zone and Bitcoin continues to go down, alt season is going to be the opposite. It's going to be a complete and utter wrecked season. You might start to see some moves take place from altcoins, but it's in no way an alt season. As we all know, alt seasons take place at resistances, not supports. So it's going to be the opposite of an alt season. Best thing you can hope for would be for Bitcoin to start to do a rally, and some altcoins obviously moving alongside with Bitcoin. But there's no real reason for any alt season to take place around these levels. In fact, the alt season that we took part in was about as good as it's going to get in a bear market, and that was 100 to 150% moves that we did over a 2-month period. So that's fine, that's all right. That's an alt season in a bear market. You're not going to get anything outside of that taking place over here. Now you might find, a month from now there'll be some obscure altcoin that's done about 300%, and then you go, ha! There you go, but really that's not an alt season. Right, so Bitcoin, we can see that we've got this, we've not put it in, but we've got a bit of a support take place here in the short-term time frames. You can see the relevance of it when you bring it back further and further and further. In the short-term time frames, a bit of an intermediate drop zone really. It comes in around 20,800. We can put that in there and leave it there if you like. But for me, the major areas of support have been broken down already. And so this really does make it feel, and most likely is going to break down below this little intermediate zone. I mean, this could be a bounce that takes us up to maybe at best 23,000, but it's very unlikely, I think, at this stage. And obviously, being through as we are in the weekend, we don't have the traditional markets to help govern a particular area. They closed relatively bearish. I think that will transfer over to the weekend for Bitcoin. If not today, then certainly tomorrow, and then next week, probably going to get continuation on the moves down for traditional markets. So we'll be looking for about 19,000 really to be the next major area for Bitcoin. We've got a death cross here in the 4-hourly, so be it. It is what it is. That's fine. Like I say, we've done pretty well this last 2 or 3 months really out of traditional markets and with crypto. So now it's time to just sit on the sidelines and wait for lower prices to kick in. Now, if you're looking to obviously expose yourself to the market, that's your call. And if you've got a long-term projection on certain things, I mean, it's not for me to put a trader's perspective to you and say that's not appropriate. There's plenty of altcoins that you could be thinking of buying for the long term, put them in staking, but I wouldn't really expect to see any sort of major gains from them at any point for about a year or so, to be honest with you. There's no reason why that would really happen. There's no hundreds of X's or even tens of X's likely to happen for any altcoins for, like I say, I'd say probably for about a year really. But it doesn't mean that these lows aren't going to be significant lows in the long term. You look back in hindsight and go, wow, what a great entry point. But really, I'd be looking for the bull market to really start to begin before I would feel comfortable enough to say, yeah, buy whatever it is that you want and see where you go with that. So me personally, given the Bitcoin dominance being so low and that the only real major play is one of a Bitcoin play, and I've got a little bit more money now from all the trading that we've done over the last couple of months, so I'm going to start buying Bitcoin again at levels that I've already bought. So I bought Bitcoin, the last one is the capitulation low here, where I bought a load of altcoins, well not a load, I bought Algorand and Chainlink and some Bitcoin. I would actually be looking to front run that a little bit now, so it looks relatively likely now that we're going to head back down towards the 20,000, probably break down into the $19,000 zone. Now this area here, this $19,000, has had a fair bit of response. So in standard practice for me, I'd like to front run that. I'll probably be looking to front run that to around these levels here. So probably about 19,300, just in case, you know, there is like a major bottom and a bounce that takes place just above the $19,000 zone, because you all know we're very simple beings, we're extremely simple animals really, and we love round numbers. There'll be many people putting in buy orders at 19,000. You know, if the market does for whatever reason feel as though there's a reason for Bitcoin to bounce around those levels, they're probably going to get front run, and all those bids get they don't get filled. There's also a good amount of evidence at this stage now to think that we will come down even lower. So I'm all up for that, and like I say, I'll buy lower if it comes to it. So the daily momentum is not really going to give us anything going on here. It just doesn't look like a pile of crap. There's nothing on this chart, on this daily, which in any way looks bullish. We only have those mere supports below us. But the one thing that we can take away so far, which is, again, it's not bullish, but it could be working on something bullish, is potential bullish divergence forming on the money flow index and on the RSI. So these were both relatively oversold. What a magical term that floats amongst the crypto world. But it is oversold. This is the lowest the money flow index has ever been. I think there might have been one read in 2014 or something, 13 or 14, that was lower than that. But this is the lowest it's generally ever really been on a weekly. So similar to how we were expecting some kind of bullish divergence to take place here or here, it could actually happen here. And so if that's the case, then this is the same read that we've had in the past where we found absolute lows. So here's a low and a higher low, here's a low and a higher low. So it's your bullish divergence on the money flow index. These actually spotted the absolute lows. That was the absolute low, complete dump there down to the low 3000s, and this was your March low as well. Both formed in the face of bullish divergence. And so we'll be looking for that sort of thing to take place once again. And if we did get it with the RSI, that's something that actually didn't happen before. So we didn't get the bullish divergence with RSI on a weekly before. We could be looking at that as well, because again, it's oversold. It's oversold RSI. It's got to go up. So yeah, in order for it to actually go up and for this to actually kick in as bullish divergence, it does require a new low. So just bear that in mind. Any major capitulation dump from here, there's three things to look for, I'd say, at this point now. So we'll be looking for bullish divergence on both money flow index and RSI, or at least the money flow index, because that's the one that's given us in the past. The RSI had no read on the weekly, but the money flow index did. So we'll be looking for that. We'd also be looking for something similar to this, really, which is a giant red wick. So we've seen this in the past. This is your March dump, major red volume signature there, huge amount of selling pressure, basically capitulation. Then another one over here. This is where the market cap basically dumped. So we lost an enormous amount of Bitcoin's value, but we also lost half of crypto's market cap in a 2-week period, and that's present there. You can see that's the biggest we've seen so far, and this was the last one that we saw, which is the capitulation dump, basically after as we moved down into these levels. And that's one of the reasons I bought into these lows, thinking that there is a chance that could have been the absolute low for Bitcoin and crypto. It's worth a shot, because it was doing what I was looking for, really. Third biggest in history. But we're working on one at the moment. This week has not yet closed, and it could still close lower. We're only Saturday. We've still got best part of 36 hours left to go on this, and we could actually read another one here. So I would. This is why I'm saying I think it's worthy of buying these dips on Bitcoin. And the reason like I say, favoring Bitcoin is simply because the dominance chart has shown us in the past that you come down to these levels down here, you have a savage reaction. This is bear market stuff, this is bull market stuff, this is sideways sort of nondescript stuff. But every time we come down to 40%, as we all know, it's been devastating for alts. There's never been a good reaction from alts down at these low levels. It's all about Bitcoin. Fortune favors the Bitcoin trader, unfortunately. Obviously, there will always be some alts that do well, and we can keep our eye and we can try and trade some of those things. But for the moment, I'll be looking for lower lows on Bitcoin over a period of maybe the next 2, 6, 8 weeks or so, and I think that maybe at that stage then the ultimate low will be put in. This basically is not just because of what I'm looking at on this chart right now, but we've spoken about this in the long-term time frames, and we talk about the Bitcoin market cycle, don't we? We speak about that sometimes, and this is basically it. So we get rid of all this noise. We don't need any of that right now. Draw a few dots, but these big lines, these vertical lines, represent the halvings. I'm going to just turn off all this noise, and these halvings, the next one is around here. We are looking for, within the bull market, a peak and a low, a peak and a low, a peak and a low, and then at some points, usually about 2/3 to a quarter, 3/4 of the way through this this area in between our halvings, we find a low and we rally into the actual halving itself. And so at the moment we're just over halfway, similar to how these have bottomed in the past. So like I say, 2/3 of the way through, about 2/3 of the way through. We're more or less 2/3 of the way through here. We are looking at this on a monthly, so and there's no real reason to think that any of this is any different. We talk about the next bull market and when it would take place time wise. It would be as early as September to maybe as late as December, and that would be a low being put in, and an accumulation being put in, and then a rally that moves off on into the halving. The halving here takes place in May 2024, but the rally into that normally happens about a year in advance. That's how it works for Bitcoin. It's how it's worked for altcoins that also have halvings. And I have no reason to doubt that that's why it would happen again. Well, there is one reason to doubt it: enormous bearish divergence on the monthly. But that also could be why we're breaking down below levels that we've never seen happen before, like a 200 weekly moving average. That's all happened. That could be this giant bearish divergence playing out on the monthly RSI. So anyway, I put all of this out there, with some clickbait about $3,000 Bitcoin or whatever. But when you see something like this, it is different. But again, this current price action is also different as well. So it's definitely different. I'm going to make some more bullish videos from the long-term perspective. I hear that some people want to hear a long-term projection. I can tell you now, I've got exactly the projection for you. Absolutely not concerned about the crypto market. In fact, I'm pretty confident that the next bull run is going to be the biggest one ever, where it will sustain a lot of its value. But it doesn't feel like that now, and that's exactly what bear markets are supposed to make you feel like. They make you feel like, or supposed to feel like, that you've been chasing magical dragons or whatever. You're in something that you have no understanding about, but I'm pretty confident the next bull market will continue just like this one, and probably more sustained with much higher prices. And I'll make a video as to why that will be another time. So yeah, no different to the market cycle. We'll be looking to put in a bottom anywhere between September, which is very soon, and December, which is obviously a little further away. And I'll be looking to start buying back in on this one just above 19, and any major low that's seen after that. And again, the bull market will resume, but there are obviously things like NASDAQ and Dixie that make people feel as though this is not going to happen. We could easily get our rejection for around these levels. This is why I sold on the way up, this one and over here. We could come back down to new lows on this one. We have to monitor the situation from NASDAQ and Dixie, on a daily and a weekly basis. Really, the correlation is quite high, and obviously oil as well. But for the most part, I think the teens are most likely going to be seen again for Bitcoin. Altcoins can take a nap, and we can get back into those at a later date, and we can just focus on stocking up on that Bitcoin the lower it goes, because again, Bitcoin is a trading pair, isn't it? If you want to trade altcoins, you've seen how I basically trade Bitcoin to altcoins for the most part. So I'm going to get some more Bitcoin as we approach 19,000. And then go lower, if we go lower. Right, well, that'll do for now. I'm not trading this weekend. What is the point? There's only one trade to be made for me, and that's as we approach 19,000. And I'm not really interested in altcoins at the moment. They've done their business. I'm quite happy with the way that they've worked out. So now it's basically rinse and repeat, stock up on the Bitcoin, and wait for more situations to materialize of any significance, and we can play those as and when they come. Right, thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend. Don't get stuck to the charts. Just enjoy the weekend and take it easy.